Hi, Stephen here from Son of an Ocean Wave, and this is day 5 of the May daily draws. So let's see what message we get today. And I'll be taking the first card from the Druidcraft Tarot, followed by an oracle card from the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle. So let's choose our first card and get the reading underway. Okay, here we go. You have the Eight of Swords. This is that feeling of restriction, of limitation, of not quite sure how to move forward, the inability to move. Maybe through circumstance, but usually through our own thoughts and perspectives that we have about ourselves and the situations that we're in. Sometimes we don't see that perhaps there is a way forward when there is. We don't perceive it. She could walk quite easily. She could free herself for using these swords here, but she can't see it. She can't see the way out of her situation. So she feels hemmed in. She feels trapped. And sometimes we may feel trapped in our own circumstance and have a perceived inability to move forward. But what this card says to us today is that it's not necessarily so. We need to change our perspective on the situation. We need to think in a different way and begin to see and become aware of the truth of our situation. And it may not be the way that we initially perceive it to be. The only limitations perhaps in the situation are the ones that we're placing upon ourselves, and that having more confidence and belief in ourselves and our abilities may be the thing that will enable us to move forward and set us free from whatever ties us back or holds us back from moving forward. So it could be doubts, it could be fears, but it may be perceived fears and doubts that are not really grounded in anything, or maybe loom greater than they should. Maybe they're magnified through our minds, to a great proportion that is not in relation to the reality. So maybe our situation and our own abilities and skills and qualities are not as poor for the situation as we may think. We may actually have the skills and abilities to deal with whatever we need to deal with, and some of those challenges may not be as big as we first think. And we need to change the way we think about it. We need to see ourselves first in a new light. We need to look within and see our true selves, as we truly are, not as what we perhaps perceive at the moment, what the world has told us that we are, but to look deep within and see our true, authentic self. When we become more aware of our true selves, it can give us more confidence and belief in who we are and what we're supposed to be doing. And that in itself can sometimes, as we begin to look and choose to see things in a new light, that's where the blindfold, or whatever it is, begins to fall from our eyes, and we begin to see things a bit more clearly. And that's what this Eight of Swords is about. That it's about believing in who we truly are and moving beyond those perceived limitations and restrictions that may have been put on us, but usually that we have put on ourselves. So let's be open today to that realization of our true selves, and to have more faith and belief in ourselves and our ability to meet the challenges we face, that we may not be as limited as we first think. And that's really the key message of this Eight of Swords today, is that it may not be as limiting or restrictive as it may initially feel. You know, we may just need to change our perspective. It's not that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy. You know, there will be may still be challenges, but it's going to be easier than we first imagined. So we need to have faith in that and to throw off the things that limit us, throw off those limiting doubts and fears, confront them, and realize that we are a match for them in truth. And as we begin to build our self-confidence and self-belief, you know, the situation may not seem as paralyzing or as restricting as it did when we first began. So it's becoming aware of our ability to move beyond our current sense of limitation and restriction and to move forward to a greater sense of freedom. That is what the Eight of Swords is calling us to do. That's the transitional, transformative process that we're being asked to make. And it all starts by a decision and an intent to see our situation and ourselves as it truly is, rather than what we first perceive. We need to at least choose to be willing to be for our perspective to be changed, and through that for us to be transformed, for our circumstances to be transformed as a result. So what this says is keep hope. It's not as bad as perhaps you think. You're more capable of things than you first imagine. You're not as stuck and limited as you may think. And that's what the encouragement of this card is today. Okay, let's see which oracle card we get to go with that. We have the Goat. Beautiful card, that, with the moon in between the antlers. Fearless I am in the path I choose, for I've never been led astray, always finding my way. That's the essence of self-belief. And look at the third eye he has here. And it's like, with the moon there, it's about trusting our gut feeling, our intuition, not going through our perhaps distorted perceptions, but looking within and getting that authentic gut feeling about what we're truly like, not what we first perceive us to be like. Let that true, authentic self come out fearlessly and trust in our ability. Like, you know, with everything that we've done so far, it's shown us that we have that ability. And it says, fearless I am in the path I choose. So again, it's by that choosing to move forward fearlessly, confronting any fears, casting them aside so they don't limit us. For I've never been led astray, always finding my way. You've always done it. We've always done it throughout our lives. We can do it again. So let's have that self-belief, move beyond those perceived limitations, break free of them, and move forward. And that is the message of the cards today. Okay, so that's today's message. I'll be back tomorrow with day 6. Until then, thank you for listening. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon. Okay, bye-bye.